Let's talk a little Michigan recruiting. I've been fascinated by the Bryce Underwood recruitment. Even when he was committed to LSU, we had him in studio. We talked to him. He was really interesting to talk about. And then, of course, the big flip. 300 days after his commitment from LSU, he makes a decision to flip his commitment to Michigan. Of course, there's a couple players in this Sharon Moore, obviously one of the biggest, but you had Dave Portnoy, you had Larry Ellison. You also have Connor Stallions in the role that he played, and he played some sort of role. And this week, on Friday, he was in studio here at On3 with JD Piquel. You guys know JD. He's on the On3 Sports channel. And we're going to take a look at a clip. They actually talk about the Bryce Underwood scenario and kind of Connor Stallion's role in it. So let's watch this clip.
Did Bryce give you a heads up like,
no,
hey, this is about to? No, okay.
Nope.
So what was the conversation
Elijah
like
Dotson did.
when he? Okay. So
for Elijah,
okay, gotcha.
because Elijah told me he was gonna flip to Michigan.
Mm-hmm. When Bryce did tell you he was going to Michigan, or when you found
Bryce
out the news.
committed after Elijah.
So when you find out, are you like hitting him a text, him a quick call, or like what was
Oh
that first
no, I mean,
interaction
I'm
like
sure
when
his phone was completely blown up. Yeah. But that weekend, so he I don't even remember what day it was, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, somewhere there. He commits to Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's funny. I'm still upset about our loss in the playoffs to Catholic Central, a great program. And they're Catholic Central, very elite with weight room and their defense and the front seven. And Belleville, unfortunately, was just behind in that. So it's like, well, it's going to be tough to run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So it of course, as the OC or whatever, I'm still like, man, I should have done this, should have done that. And I'm
replaying it in your head.
I'm sure he feels the same way. But, it's funny from Michigan's perspective. It could have been a blessing in disguise because he could not have gone to the Northwestern game that week, that next weekend, had we won, because we would have played at the same time. Now, I don't think he would have committed or not based on if he could have gone to a Michigan Northwestern game. But I thought it was cool for him to be able to commit and then 2-3 days later go to that game. So yeah, I think I hit his dad up because I'm sure his phone was getting blown. His dad was a coach on the team at Belleville.
Got it. Okay.
His dad was a running backs coach, so I was pretty close with his dad. So I hit him up like, hey man, if you guys are gonna be around, have any free time, let me know. And so we were at this big tailgate, and a couple of the other coaches on the staff were at Belleville were at the tailgate. And so yeah, they I guess they took a 10-minute, 15-minute detour, said, hey, we got somewhere to be, and they came by, swung by and said hi. And
snap a quick pic, break the internet really quick, and then just see yourself trending.
Yeah.
How many texts did you get after that? Because I think the perception for people that saw that, they were like, all right, if I'm a Michigan fan and I am believing that Connor Stallions brought us home a natty, now he brings us the #1 recruit in America, it's like, dog, give this guy the key to the city right now. Was your text just going crazy when that all happens?
Yeah. I mean, the picture alone, it's just a funny, well-timed picture of Bryce and me at the tailgate. People are always going to think what they want. It's the same thing with the conspiracies originally with me and the sign stealing stuff. People just want, a good friend of mine is people want a sexy story, but the unfortunate truth is sometimes the truth is not sexy. It's just, it is what it is, right?
Sure.
Bryce Underwood is not committing to Michigan because his fifth offensive coordinator behind the scenes was convincing him to commit to Michigan. In fact, I actually had a great relationship with the coach at LSU, Joe Sloan, recruiting him. And in my opinion, I had a 3-hour conversation with Joe, and I was like, oh, well, I don't think Bryce is going to flip to Michigan. Coach Sloan's pretty awesome.
So interesting to see Connor Stallion sit down with JD, say he had no heads up, and it sounds like he's saying he didn't play a big role. But if you listen to the internet, especially right after, it sounded like Connor Stallions was one of the main reasons behind this. But what do you guys think? I kind of believe Connor Stallions because in this day and age of college football where you have his parents involved, like he said his dad coached with the team. So, yeah, he had a close relationship with Connor Stallions. But hold on. Do you really think that Connor Stallions could influence Bryce Underwood, who has a great head on his shoulders himself, has his family involved, has an agent involved, has Larry Ellison and Dave Portnoy calling him. I just think that it's interesting to hear Connor Stalions' perspective, but I don't think Connor deserves the attribution that the internet's giving him for landing Bryce Underwood. Now, I think this clip was cool to kind of hear the behind the scenes of the tailgate photo pic, and even Connor understanding how epic that picture was for the internet. Love that picture. When I saw it, my jaw dropped. I was like, is this Photoshop? Is this AI? I couldn't believe it. But even Connor understood what the internet was saying. So I don't think that Connor Stalions had a huge role in Bryce flipping, but I think he'll always be tied to the story. Let's watch a little bit more of Connor Stalions and JD Piquel.
You're on staff at Bryce Underwood's high school,
Yep.
and then he flips, and then conveniently there's a picture of y'all together at a Michigan tailgate. Like, just walk us through from start to finish that story of you getting on staff at Bryce Underwood's high school.
Yeah, so a couple coaches that I know pretty well that have significant Belleville ties. When our regular season ended at Mumford and we're going to the playoffs, and Belleville had just lost their last regular season game, it was like, hey, we want you to go in, help out, help with the offense, and, get these boys right. So I get there. My first time meeting Bryce was the Sunday after the Michigan State game. And, right away, the first thing I told him was, look, because, obviously it's kind of funny. We're both kind of starstruck because he's like, I just watched your documentary. And I'm like, oh, you're Bryce Underwood. And, so I told him, I said, look, obviously, where I would want you to play. I'm not here to talk about that. Like this, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that I love Michigan and would love to see it at Michigan. I'm here to just help you win, help you grow from a football standpoint and so on. And that first day, we were there for like 12 hours. Talking ball.
Wow.
The guy's obsessed with football. We got along very, very well. We still have a good relationship just because of football.
Yeah.
Like he would call me every night watching film, like asking me what I think the boundary safety is trying to do on this play and that play. And he'd answer his own question 99% of the time. And just kind of a sounding board for him. But, his work ethic and his knowledge of football is what obviously you can't just tell by looking at him. Mm-hmm. You can watch him throw the ball. You can look at him. Oh yeah, he's got the physical tools. He's got everything there on film. What sets him apart, and this is why I think he's so confident when he goes on the Rich Eisen show or whatever, and he doesn't shy away, right? Like anyone in his position or in his camp, like a family member or a friend or a coach or whoever, might kind of hesitate to be like, oh, I don't want to talk about him because the expectation or whatever. Well, clearly, the expectation that doesn't faze him, right? He's talking about what he expects out of himself, and the reason why he's so confident in himself has to be because of his work ethic and the grind. Like, I'm 100% confident, and I can say this knowing, I was at Schembechler Hall for multiple years, and there's like maybe 2 or 3 other people who are in there as early and as late, as you're in there, like Coach Moore being one of them, Nick Roselio, shout out to him. He's offensive line GA. He's a grinder. He's there all the time. Bryce is like that.
All right. So there you have it. That's JD Piquel with Connor Stalions. And what do you guys think? Was Connor Stalions an integral part of getting Bryce Underwood to Michigan, or was he just does he just have a really interesting perspective and he was there alongside for the process, but maybe not a huge factor? I don't know. The internet made it sound like Connor Stalions had a big hand in getting Bryce Underwood to Michigan. But now that we had Connor Stalions in studio, pretty cool that he was here at On 3 with JD Piquel. I'll link the full interview. I think he did about an hour here. So he hit a lot of Michigan topics. So I will put that link in the description of his interview with JD. But I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? Does Connor Stalions get too much credit not enough, or was he just a bystander for the whole thing? Let me know. Comment section below.